And now for our roundtable with our WPTV political analyst on To The Point, Mariana Mancuso and Brian Crowley.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mariana. Leadership in crisis. Your thoughts this week, especially as from the White House to Tallahassee, we begin to talk about trying to reopen the economy. Brian?
Well, I think that there's been some flaws in the leadership in Tallahassee. I'm giving them somewhat of a pass because Governor DeSantis has never faced a crisis like this before. On the other hand, even, the fact that so few people, more than 90% of people who applied for unemployment haven't gotten it. A lot of small businesses haven't gotten any help. We seem to be sort of stumbling our way through some of this. I think DeSantis is finally realizing that he needed to make some changes, and he has made some changes with the unemployment leadership. So we'll see what happens. But it's not gone as smoothly as a lot of people hoped.
Mariana, same question.
I would say that DeSantis is really working hard to try and make up where he fumbled on the onset. But the reality is he's still in lockstep with the White House, and that could be problematic for a lot of Floridians.
Talk about that thought. We've picked up on that, as goes Florida, such a diverse state, how we handle unemployment, how we handle people getting money in their pocketbooks who've been so drastically affected. We'll go a long way toward decisions this fall, and really Governor DeSantis in lockstep with the president on trying to reopen the economy. Talk more on that theme.
Well, the reality is that a lot of people that have tried to apply for unemployment recently and previously have really struggled and been having difficult time to get the payment that they're deserved and the help that they need in this moment. And DeSantis didn't realize that there was an issue with this moment until it came to his attention, which is problematic because unemployment, with people being down on their luck and needing this, and this time specifically, it's not a time to have the system crash, so to speak. And we've watched the White House try and roll out 4 phases of reintegration of the economy and get that bolstered. But the reality is until we know that everyone has been tested, until we have firm numbers, reopening the economy is not necessarily something that's going to be helpful to Floridians' health in the long run.
Brian, talk about this as we roll toward November and the kind of calculus that voters will be making on the kind of help they got now or didn't, and what it will say about their thinking as we roll toward November. And we're also seeing in the country many conservatives arguing social distancing orders are unconstitutional. You can't do it. You begin to see that schism there. Talk about that in Florida, Brian.
Well, first, I think the vast majority of people are accepting the idea that you have to do some social distancing, that you should stay home if you have no reason to be out. I think most people are taking a cautious approach to this, as well they should. It's a little disturbing that you have some small minority of people out there who want to demonstrate in front of capitals and demand that they be allowed to do whatever they want. It reminds me a little bit of the people who are the anti-vaccination folks who don't want their kids to have traditional vaccinations. This is all about protecting your health. Should we have deep concerns about the economy? Absolutely. But, if we make a mistake and we get out, as Mariana pointed out, if we get out ahead of this thing, if we start releasing people in masses, that will do more damage to the economy in the long run. So I think a little caution in the beginning is helpful. I think there are some steps that we should be taking that could help a lot more. But, we've had very fractured leadership from the White House, and somehow we've managed to turn this into a political event. And it's going to be interesting to see how the voters see this come November.
Speaking of voters, come November, Joe Biden fighting for airtime right now. Of course, he got Bernie Sanders support last week. He had done very well in Florida, and it's going to continue to be interesting to see how that rolls out in terms of him finding oxygen for his message on recovery and what he would do. In our remaining minute, Mariana, thoughts on that?
Well, Joe Biden not only secured Bernie Sanders' endorsement, and he also took home Barack Obama's this past week, as well as Elizabeth Warren, which shows me the Democrats are working to rally and come together and focus on beating Trump in November, which is interesting to watch a party come together in a cohesive manner these days.
Brian, final thought?
Well, I think it's interesting that the entire way of campaigning is changing right now. Most of the campaigning is going on online. Donald Trump had a join the Trump Army event the other day. Biden and the Democrats are trying to have their online events. It's probably the best thing happening for them is people have a lot of downtime right now. So probably more people are tuning into some of that stuff than would normally. But, I think we're a long way from having a big rally.
All right. Brian, Mariana, thanks. Your closing thoughts in a moment.
Thank you.